There are just too many commercial loan brokers that don't have a damn clue of what they're doing. All we're trying to do here is better the industry for everybody. At the end of the day, you can make great money in this industry, but in the end, it's all about helping people. You know, people always say, Kris, how can I be a successful broker? It's two words, hard work and dedication. If you don't like talking to people, you probably shouldn't be in this business. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs in Finance. I'm Kris Roglieri, President and CEO of Commercial Capital Training Group and a couple other entities we have here. But this episode, I'm very excited to talk about with my colleagues that are here before me. And it's about the National Alliance of Commercial Loan Brokers, or NACLB. And we're going to discuss why that organization is important to the mix of the other organizations that we have here. And kind of that's what kind of makes us different when choosing your training company to be a commercial loan broker. But we'll get into that. But before I do, let me introduce the wonderful people that I have sitting here in this conference room that's taking part in this podcast. They're going to add a lot of insight into their role with our broker association, which, by the way, is the largest broker association, commercial loan broker association in the country. So let's get the ball rolling here. And so I'm going to go to my right here, ladies first, and introduce Jenna. Hey, Jenna.
Hey, Kris. So I'm the Associate Marketing Director for the Finance Marketing Group, which does the marketing for any of the packages that you purchase for CCTG. But my passion project here is what we are going to be talking about today, which is the National Alliance of Commercial Loan Brokers. I spearhead the planning for that each year, and I just work alongside the team to make sure everything is rocking and rolling and ready for you all to attend.
Great. All right. And then to your right, Christina, how are you?
Good. How are you, Kris?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me in this podcast.
Thank you. So I'm Christina. I'm the Associate Director of Enrollment for CCTG. My other project and passion here is the National Alliance of Commercial Loan Brokers, which I've been fortunate enough to work on now for about 5 years. So my role with the conference is to coordinate as well as handle all of our logistics for the conference to just make sure everything goes smoothly. So we're always excited to spend a lot of time working on that together to make it awesome.
Yeah, awesome. All right. And last but not least, Scotty D joins me to my left here.
Hello, everybody.
Want to tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Be happy to. My name is Scott T. Berardinis, or Scotty D for short. I am the Director of the National Alliance of Commercial Loan Brokers, NACLB. My role with that organization is growing our brokers and sponsor network to make sure y'all attend our conference, which, by the way, is in October of this year, 26th through the 28th. Just so y'all know, get ready to sign up soon. My other role with the organization is with Commercial Capital Training Group. I'm the director of the Legacy program. So for all you legacies out there, come spend some time with us in Vegas. I'm sure you'll enjoy it and get a lot out of it.
All right. I think it's important to know. So thank you all for being here. It's important to note that, number one, the NACLB, National Alliance of Commercial Loan Brokers, is the largest gathering of commercial loan brokers really in the country or in the world. And that's one of the entities that we have part of our family of companies here. The thing to really realize, I think, is that everybody sitting here kind of donates their time to help out run the organization. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody for doing that. All these people here, as you mentioned, have regular jobs, wear multiple hats, multiple roles. And, but, you know, and I think Jenna said it best, a passion project. Everybody kind of works throughout the year to make this event happen once a year, and also multiple events that we have throughout the year to give value to our membership of brokers and sponsors. So I just want to give everybody a history. You know, what's interesting is the National Alliance of Commercial Loan Brokers. This is our 7th year. Is that right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, 7th year. It's hard to believe. And I remember when, you know, I got this crazy idea to start an association that would cater to all different levels of commercial lending or different products of commercial lending. And everybody thought I was crazy for doing it because what existed before, first of all, there wasn't really a dedicated commercial loan broker association that was dedicated to that principle. It existed in pockets, right? So if we had factoring associations, you had real estate associations, you had, SBA associations, but you never had one that brought all the products together which we would define as catering to today's modern commercial loan broker, which is, being able to be a one-stop shop to a business owner, a real estate investor. So it's hard to believe we're here. It's 7 years already. And I think for our viewers that are going to be viewing this podcast, it's important to note that in just 7 short years, we've grown to be the largest gathering, more than associations that have been around for 30 years, so it kind of exemplifies and highlights our growth that we've had throughout the years of more and more brokers attending, I think what's also important to note is this acts as a CCTG reunion conference, since a lot of the people that make up the broker membership are CCTG grads. And it's a good chance for them to mingle and, see each other. I think one of the exciting things this year about what's going to happen at our conference, which is October 26th to the 28th, is we're going to be at Caesars Palace. I signed a 2-year deal with Caesars, so we're going to be there this year and next year. But Scott, you want to break the good news of who our keynote speaker is this year?
I'll be happy to. So the theme of our conference this year is we're back swinging. We all know why that is, simply because of COVID last year. I'm really pleased to say that our keynote speaker is going to be Sugar Ray Leonard. We all know Sugar Ray Leonard, Golden Glove boxing champion, Olympic gold medalist, and world champion. And besides that, he's quite an entrepreneur in his own right. So we're really looking forward to seeing how him being a champion in the sports world prepared him to be an entrepreneur in life. So
and I'm looking forward to interviewing him because he's going to do our podcast,
absolutely,
which is going to be cool.
Yeah, that's going to be very cool.
Really cool. All right. Well, guys, you heard it here first. And again, you have a chance to attend. If you attend CCTG here in the next couple of months, you could still make it out to Vegas in October. So hopefully I'll get to see you all. So what I want to do is maybe just kind of go around the room, since everybody's, has experience with CCTG graduates here. Maybe Scott, from your perspective, you work with a lot of graduates, especially on the legacy front, but what's your observation, being involved in the organization the last couple of years, association of graduates that, see each other, that look forward every year coming to see hundreds of other graduates?
You brought up a great thing. You said a little earlier about the reunion, and there's grads that, CCTG has been around for 12 years now. There's grads that are still coming to the NACLB that have been around as long as CCTG has been around.
Right.
Even though we're only in our 7th year, they've been coming since, the first year you had it, which is really exciting to see. And what's more important is they're coming and they're developing those relationships, whereas they can rely on each other to have conversations about specific deals they're working on, or they can call each other and say, hey, what lender do you work for this? Or it's just a big education thing where everybody gets together and hits the breakout sessions and learns a lot about what we're offering the marketplace from a diverse lender group.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. Jenna, from your perspective, I mean, you've been actually involved longer than Scott,
Yep.
Almost from day one of NACLB. What's your perspective on being there, doing that event for 2.5 days and seeing the graduates all come together from different years and different classes?
Sure. So what I love most is, Scott had kind of alluded to that we have people, from 12 years ago, but one of the things I love the most is that we have veteran individuals who are willing to share their knowledge on how they were successful and how they remain successful. Some are, willing to share their information, how they may have transitioned to becoming a lender and, talking through the finer things of that. They'll also talk about how maybe they found their niche, or how their niche is that they're a diversified broker, and how they go about, selling that as a perk of working with them. So I really love that. And additionally, I love to actually get to see the attendees again, you know, especially when we haven't seen each other in a while and we just get to reconnect. It helps us reconnect on marketing strategies for the business. And it also helps us connect them with any lenders that might be new to the program that they
Right.
didn't get to meet when they came.
Right.
And new lenders who maybe aren't a part of CCTG's program just yet, but they enjoy coming to the NACLB. So those are things that I think are great. And I love to get to see them networking together and learning from each other, because I think that's really, truly the best way, to get the knowledge is from other people and listening to what they may have done wrong. And then,
Right.
of course, what they've done right.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that. And, just from a personal note, I like getting to see our clients again. So for this year, I'm excited because we had a whole year of virtual classes. So I'm really
Right.
excited to finally get to meet people, put a face to the name, and shake hands if that's safe at the time, which I'm sure it will be.
It's going to be.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And I'm hoping that I'm hoping that everyone decides to come to the conference and meet the lenders that they only got to meet online. They can shake their lender's hand and everything now. So.
Correct. And I think, for me, that's a pleasure, always a pleasure for these conferences, is to see graduates again and reunite with, or not reunite, but, kind of get to shake somebody's hand again that was in class maybe 6-7 years ago. That's always a pleasure for me. Christina, tell me from your angle, because a lot of times graduates get to deal with you first before even Scott and Jenna, because you work close with Mike Geisler, the head of enrollment. You know, for me, if I were looking to come and pick a training company, I would want to pick the best one that has, I guess, the most credibility. And to me, I think sometimes the fact that part of our family of companies is the largest commercial loan broker association. That's a big deal. If I were looking into something, saying, wow, okay, these guys are a training company, but they also have this conference and this association that was created. Do you think that oftentimes that gets missed because there's so much stuff that a graduate has to grasp, that aspect gets missed of, before choosing the right company or doing their due diligence on us?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Just because, they're kind of bombarded with a lot of information before coming to training,
Right.
that maybe this is something that's on the back burner for them, and that they aren't focusing their energy on, researching and putting their time into. So I think something that's cool with me being in the role that I'm in is that I have a big hand in CCTG and a hand in NACLB. So I'm able to communicate with our graduates and our potential students about both. So I think it's important that, they do take the time to familiarize themselves and ask the questions about, of course, CCTG, but also NACLB as well,
Right.
to broaden their horizon about what can come after the training.
Well, and right, what's life like after training? And especially some of the packages we offer free memberships, or if you're legacy, it's a lifetime membership to the organization. Which oftentimes, I think people don't understand because there's so many other products, and they're so focused on the opportunity, which rightfully so, but they don't realize how big the dynamics are of our organizations and how that fits. Because the fact of the matter is, with some other training companies that may be out there, nobody can say that, hey, we have an association that we created, and we have hundreds and hundreds of past people that have come back year after year for education and additional learning opportunities, and just get a chance to be with what we call our CCTG family here. I don't think anybody has that, um, or at least they can't say they have that, of what we've built up in the last 12 years. Um, you know, what would you say, Scott, from your perspective, being that you deal with a lot of the lenders that are a part of the association? One of the biggest questions that I get from graduates at the end of training, when they've learned about our whole, or all of our organizations, is, well, why should I attend this conference, right? Why should I be a part of the organization? And I always say, well, you should support the only association / organization that's there for what you do, number one. But number two, I think they think that they're going to get a bunch of lenders here, and they do, but they're like, well, why would I attend if I already have lenders? You want to shed light on why it's important,
Yeah, that's
year after year,
yeah.
because somebody may be saying, well, okay, if I go to CCTG, great. Why would I want to go to this, being that I'll already walk away with all these good lenders?
That's a great question. And quite honestly, the best answer is you're going to see a lot of lenders at the NACLB that you won't see at CCTG.
Right.
So our direct lender portfolio at the NACLB is 110 direct lenders. We may have a low overlap, which is might be 20 lenders or 30 lenders from CCTG to NACLB. But if you take that out of there, you're looking at 70 or 80 direct lenders that you've never met before, which is just going to expand your direct lender portfolio. And more importantly, be able to fund any deal you put on your desk. And it's okay if you have a couple of SBA lenders, a couple of commercial real estate lenders, a couple of equipment lenders. Not everybody works well with each lender. However, if you have such a diverse portfolio, you're going to be able to continue to grow that. The other part of it is the education we offer at NACLB. We have several breakout sessions that go on over the couple of days that they're out there with lenders talking about what they do, how they do it. That's going to be able to benefit you guys too. And again, these are lenders that you're not going to meet at CCTG. That's going to give you a great foothold in the marketplace.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, and I think our platform, because our association is open to both non-CCTG brokers and CCTG brokers. It's just there's a large makeup of CCTG brokers throughout 12 years that, kind of serves as a reunion conference. But every year we get new lenders on the platform, particularly I'd start with NACLB, and that's their chance to kind of meet these new lenders. And I think Jenna and Christina, you guys hit it on a good point. The second point of this too is when Scott says to re-educate themselves, things change year after year, right? And so like this year, one of the biggest topics is, how has COVID affected a certain pocket of lending and what's in store for 2022 now, right? Yeah, 2022, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing that people don't realize too. It's not just meeting lenders, it's more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that, Scott did talk about the educational breakout sessions, but when people ask me, obviously, I think, expanding your lender network is extremely important. But I am of the mindset that we should always be learning. Just because you're an expert in something or you have a training in something doesn't mean that's the end of the line. And I'm also just a believer in like, just because we're doing good doesn't mean we can't be doing better.
Right.
So if you feel like, oh, I'm good, I got a good thing going, I don't need to go to the conference, I would urge you to reconsider because your good thing going can become a great thing going just based on maybe you'll attend a breakout session that is all about quick closing things that can up your cash flow and the people that you're helping or your incoming deal flow.
Right.
So, I just always like to urge people to attend that way. And then, of course, I mentioned that there's, veteran brokers there, but we do include some newer brokers who are maybe a breakout broker who hit the ground running and, found success very quickly
Yeah.
through different tactics that, you might not know. So I
Right.
think those are important things to just keep learning.
Sure. Do you want to say something, Christina, or no?
Yeah, I just absolutely think it's important to, as Jenna said, to always educate yourself and always further your knowledge base, just because you could also be meeting with, you know, a fellow graduate of yours or a past graduate who can share information with you that maybe you've been lacking that just sets you over the edge
Right.
to succeed and do even better than you're already doing.
Right. And I just want to make I want to make a statement that this is not, when we say new brokers, they're brokers that are coming out of CCTG. So they're
Right.
already fast tracked. They already been educated. This is not an association for somebody that wants to be a commercial loan broker and think that they can attend for 2.5 days and all of a sudden start a business.
Right.
That's
correct.
not what this is. This is for people that are experienced or new to the industry, but haven't been trained first, as I should say, new to the industry. But great point about, to me, I think that's one of the biggest things is networking with people that have been there and done that before you. And not only that, but have been through the same thing you went through, but it maybe 4 or 5 years ago, so it's a chance to learn from very successful, what we call CCTG superstars, which are always there, so, Scott, what would be, what would be probably your, best advice for somebody looking into, what would you want to say to people on this podcast that are looking into CCTG from an NACLB perspective? Does that make sense?
It does. It does. So I guess, my best advice is, you're already looking at a CCTG. You've already made that first step in the right direction, picking a program that teaches a blueprint for success. I mean, it really is. All you have to do is it's mapped out for you, follow the blueprint, you're going to be successful. But couple that with the NACLB in the education, the networking, the advocacy we offer during the course of the year for all the folks and our grads that have gone through and for CCTG, it's a win-win. As the director of the association, I talk to all of our grads all the time and even brokers that have been in the industry for a long time. And I hear many different things from everybody. And a lot of the things we hear is how much our guys are learning from the new sponsors we bring on, meaning new lenders we bring on, or just the education. One of the biggest things I hear, and one of the most attended things I have during the course of the year, is something called the NACLB webinar series,
Right.
where we actually bring lenders on from the NACLB, feature them every week leading up to the conference, which allows you guys to continually be educated. More importantly, all these lenders are talking about 2020, how it's changed the landscape of the marketplace. It's really great education, and it's a great way to stay informed too. So if you're looking at CCTG, take a look at NACLB and what's offered through the course of the year. You know, it's continuing education. It's a great way to stay in front of the lending community and understand what the marketplace is doing and what it's delivering for not only you, but what it's delivering for your sponsors out in the marketplace too, when you have deals that you're running through.
Yeah. And I like I said, that's a big differentiating factor from any other training company. That continuing education, people say continuing education, but what does that mean?
Right.
You know, two webinars, two webinars a year, two webinars a month.
Right.
I mean, we're doing it every week,
Every week.
with our CCTG audience through the NACLB. Jenna, any same question I always ask to everybody here. What would be your words of advice for people looking at CCTG that haven't committed yet, but from an NACLB perspective?
Sure. I think the NACLB represents CCTG's willingness and ability to address what the, landscape of the commercial loan broker industry needs. So it's not something where we'll just train you and then send you off and
Right.
say goodbye, good luck.
Right.
We really focus on, making sure that we have materials that you can use. We have the association to support you. And another good example of that is we, really listened to the industry and we created the Deal Maker magazine, where
About that, yeah.
there's factoring magazines, equipment magazines, everything like that. But there wasn't something that was diversified for our brokers who
Right.
go through the program. So I think it's just a really great example of how, Kris and the rest of us here really try to make sure that we're thinking always like, what's the next thing that we can do for our graduates? Not just, all right, we're going to let you leave the nest and that's it. So,
Mhm.
you have great support with our CCTG staff, but I just feel like, taking into consideration the conference, that expands so much. It goes beyond just the support and it provides continuing education, new avenues for lender relationships and everything like that. So.
Yeah, I can't believe I missed that point. The Deal Maker. And so for those of you that don't know, we actually also created the industry's only trade magazine for diversified commercial loan brokers called the Deal Maker, which is, a publication that NACLB produces, but it's really for all our graduates, and graduates can be featured and they're encouraged to contribute. And so Deal Maker, yeah, that's a big deal. I think Jenna, what you're trying to say in a quick sentence is that we're not complacent here. We're always
Right.
trying to
Exactly.
improve the experience of people that we put through and that are in our family now, as we say. So that's a great point. Christina, any last words of wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think if you don't choose to go to the NACLB, you're kind of cutting yourself short of what you could be doing to help yourself and to help your business.
And even if they're not choosing to go to CCTG, you're cutting yourself short.
Right.
Right?
So let's think about that. No, I
Yeah.
definitely think if you're committing to CCTG and, taking that next step to creating a new business for yourself and to creating a new business for your family, it would be smart to consider going to the NACLB and working with the new lenders who you aren't familiar with yet. And
Yeah.
like Jenna said, we had a year where we didn't get to meet our students face to face for that year. So it also gives all of us a really great opportunity to meet you guys as well,
Right.
and to network with you and to educate you further and to just make those connections that maybe you didn't have before, that may prove to be very valuable to you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. That's a great point. And it just like, if I'm somebody looking at CCTG and comparing other training companies, it's almost like that Christmas present that was left behind a tree that you find like later at night. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
yeah, you look behind and you're like, wow, I get this. wow, there's one more thing. You know what I mean? And that's what NACLB is. It's kind of like when you discover and you're in here and you realize the dynamic of all our organizations, and how each organization kind of contributes to better the industry. And you look at NACLB, it's like, wow, who knew this existed? And I get the benefit of all this, by starting with CCTG first. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you all for contributing. And hopefully people looking into this have a little more clarity, and maybe they'll get to meet you fine folks one day at an actual conference or our training. So yeah.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And so I'll just mention a couple things, guys and girls that are watching this. We are live now. We've opened up our doors to in-person, right, Christina?
We sure have.
Yeah, we sure have. So CCTG now is offering both. It's a hybrid model. So if you want to learn from home and save a little bit of money in terms of hotel and airfare, you could learn online, like we've been doing for the last 14 months now. We like to think we've perfected it. Or you could attend here in person, because what happens is when you attend training here in person, we'd love to have you. We're running an online format simultaneously. So we have a whole sophisticated camera system here in the room. And so you could see everybody interact and hear everybody interact. So we offer each option now moving forward. So I think that's about it. Guys, I want to thank you again for being here and providing some clarity. And also, guys, check us out on our YouTube channel, Commercial Capital Training Group. Make sure you subscribe, and you could download our app as well for Android or iPhone. And in fact, I had to re-download it the other day because I dropped my phone in the water. So I had to re-download apps. And I forgot how cool the CCTG app was. But make sure you download that. And hopefully I'll get the pleasure of meeting you someday. Thank you very much, everybody.